you promote a healthy or constructive disengagement, which sounds so counterintuitive, but then it's so important. What does that mean, and what's involved in that?
So when you think about this idea of every competitive advantage having a life cycle, right, there's going to be a period of time when the advantage is on the run. So I'll go back to my dial-up internet example, right? By the time more than 50% of households have switched over to broadband, it's pretty clear that model's on its way out. So if you want to thrive as an organization, you have to pull the resources out of whatever you were devoting to promoting dial-up internet and move them into something that's going to be much closer to your future. And when I look at most organizations that have really gotten themselves into trouble, it was pretty obvious that the handwriting was on the wall months or even years before it finally showed up in their business results. And yet they didn't disengage. And so the tendency of companies is to hang on to something for far too long. Or if they do disengage, it's horrible. It's firings and people get handed pink slips and it's very traumatic and nobody ever wants to discuss it again. And one of the unfortunate things is that a lot of what is valuable about a company often gets thrown out, even though you might still have some value left. So a great example of this is the mapping company Rand McNally.
Yeah.
It's a very familiar brand name, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, in a world populated by initially MapQuest and then Google Maps and then, little devices and GPS. Paper maps, again, they're not gone, they're not dead completely, but they're certainly not going to be drivers of your future profitability. Well, Rand McNally went through a really ugly process, eventually went bankrupt, got picked up by this very interesting private equity firm that invests in distressed assets called Patriarch Partners. And when Patriarch Partners kind of looked at what they bought, they realized that the Rand McNally brand name still had a lot of currency with many categories of users. And so the company's back now, but they're making specialty mapping devices for truckers, for example, or for people that own RVs. Because the generic GPS devices, if you're driving a big 18-wheel rig, it may take you down a road that you're not allowed to drive on. It doesn't have some of the special features. It may not tell you where you can buy fuel most efficiently. So what they've done is they built in all these features to make that for that particular segment, to make them willing to pay again for something that's there. But had Rand McNally just been allowed to go bankrupt and not, if somebody hadn't thoughtfully sort of said, what do we have here? All that value could have been destroyed.